truth will correct all errors in my mind, and to give and to receive are one in truth. I love when these lessons are combined in this fashion, that they work so well together. It's just fantastic, wonderful, beautiful. The fact that we have truth will correct all the errors in my mind, and to give and to receive are one in truth. So the idea kind of in this way is that to give and to receive being different, of course, not reality, but in this world is an error in my mind, because the truth, it is one, right? So as much as it corresponds or works with every single thing in the possible universe, as far as what truth is, and every error that can possibly be ever made is corrected in truth. So it does, of course, bring up this idea again. What really is this sense of truth? And to what degree would we go as far to say what is truth, right? So if you think of even just a situation like my wife loves murder mysteries, stories, real stories about who killed who and what and everything. And I'm like looking at these, and it's fascinating how they come up with all these different things and different people, and yet when they discover the facts about it, discover whatever it might be, it just kind of all settles into place. And as much as we want to say that some people might be framed and up guilty and everything the whole time, if we actually were there and we actually saw it and we actually or go back and visually see it, in any case, it will correct all the errors, right? If we knew exactly what happened and no one had an opportunity, that if we had a wish that nobody could lie ever again, then we can actually count on people, right? But if we were there and we could see it, if we saw some video, we're like, wow, we saw what actually happened, then what was the errors that came into, it kind of just dissolved away as you actually saw what occurred? Well, you saw the error that you believed them and the error that they lied about it, right? Or whatever it might have been. So we just naturally see the truth, and to say in that degree about murder mystery stories. But of course, as we take it even farther in that sense, we can see what we believed that was incorrect. So if we go all the way to the truth of all existence, right, we can see what we believe that was an error, that doesn't make any sense anymore, and now in truth, right, in the totality of truth, it dissolves away. It just kind of just, you realize, it dawns on your mind. You realize, and you're not really ashamed anymore. You're not really concerned about it. It's obvious. Now it's just obvious. The truth is obvious, right? So often people do A Course in Miracles and different things, and are trying to use it like affirmations. Okay, so I have to think this way, and I have to achieve this by thinking this way. I have to apply it to my mind. And even though that's true to get there, but once you get there, you see that is actually an error. Like, you don't realize that you're trying to correct yourself and distort yourself, change yourself, instead of realizing what yourself is misunderstood. Like, the whole reason you're trying to correct yourself is because you don't even know yourself. Like, you don't even realize who you are. And that's why you think yourself needs fixing. It's like most people that believe in the devil and evil stuff, and of course there's actions that are not helpful for society, and of course actions that hurt people. And I'm not condoning any of it, nor condemning any of it. I'm just simply pointing out the idea that people believe in the devil don't get this far in the Course. They're likely not even to touch the Course, or even with a 6-foot pole, not like literally, not even if that touches me, I'm going to be possessed by the devil. It's all going to go, everything's going to go to hell, right? You ever hear that? It's the same thing with all sorts of things that people have deemed as demonic or evil. And sure, they might have their experiences. But once you recognize the truth, you realize everything that you believed, literally not just demonic things, not just lovely things, not just anything, but literally the world that exists, the physicality, everything that you think is real, all that you believe dissolve away. It literally dissolves away. Now, of course, you can try to dissolve and go kind of go backwards so that you can recognize the truth, and that's what that forgiveness is really all about. Is you're trying to dissolve the world so that you can recognize the truth. But once the truth dawns on your mind, absolutely everything just dissolves away. It doesn't exist anymore, and it's a beautiful thing. Of course, unexplainable. Yeah, I do not give it justice, especially when you say, oh, it just dissolves away. And you're like, no, what? No, I don't want it to go. What are you talking about? And that's even likely. That's likely, yes, it's true. Like, hang on tight, we're going for a ride. So this idea to give and to receive being the same is an aspect of that. It's like there is a part of the Course that does, and it's so beautifully said, that it wants to correct this idea that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, from the Bible, John, I believe, and actually taking that, in a sense, turning around, it was more so in the fact that God so loved the Son that he gave him the world. Now this, of course, to whatever degree in which you want to know the truth of it, will diminish and dissolve the facets of illusion in its way. So as much as we can explain it, essentially it's all true. So if I say that what the world is for, and what God so loved his Son, that he gave him the world, is for, we can say it's for healing. We can say, for the salvation, for the discovery of itself, for the purpose of it. Or we can say that, don't talk too much, jeez, okay. Or we can say that he gave him the world for some sort of experience, like he asked for the experience and wanted the experience. But it's interesting how most of us read A Course in Miracles and take it in a fashion that, well, it's an illusion, right? God did not create the world, right? And yet God gave the world to his Son. So it's a little tricky, and because we actually think of God and the Son as different. We don't recognize that God and the Son of God are one in the same. They might be different in function, but it's like the same thing. Like the difference between, and excuse the metaphor, but the difference between a hand and a foot. You can tell that a hand has different functions than your feet, right? Hands are to do little things, and to touch buttons, and to hold the phones, and the crazy hello, right? And feet are for walking, and these boots are for walking and walking all over you. and they're obviously a different function, but we'd say this is one person. This is one thing, right? So in that same idea, not anything about a body, the Father God and the Father Son are the same thing, and to give and to receive a world is the same one thing. So it gets tricky because a lot of people think illusion is something to be guilty about, something to be ashamed about, that you're stuck in a world that doesn't exist. And yet it's just the misunderstanding. And it's one of those beliefs that would be dissolved, just like every belief, when you actually discover that truth. So as much as I try and explain it, of course, it's impossible to actually grasp until you discover it and see it yourself. But what it is in that sense of what you are, we can see it. Instead of Father or Son, let's just step with what you are. So what you are, you might say as a body, you might say as a person, I'm this separate self. Look at me, la-di-da-di-da. Okay, so you're going to go through this forgiveness process. You're going to be healing a lot of stuff in one day, if you haven't yet. It's going to dawn on your mind. You're going to see a degree of truth. You're going to realize and recognize yourself as the Son of God. So through that, you realize that the belief in your personal self dissolved away. Even just for a moment, it dissolved away. And you saw past it. You saw through it. And you saw, say, the Son of God. Even just an inkling or an idea, a concept of some sort, something that you were attempting to grasp it. You saw it for a second. And you're like, what is that? Oh my gosh, what is that? And you come back and you're trying to put words to it, trying to shape it, trying to make it into something it's not, all sorts of different things. But you're starting to recognize that that is one step. You realize I'm not my independent self. And I actually experienced, even for an inkling, a holy instant, a greater self, greater aspect to myself. So even in that same way, does the Son of God recognize itself for an inkling, an instant, as what is God. So even if the Son of God is giving the world to the Son or to the egos, and the egos, it makes no difference because it's getting all mumble-jumbled, mixed up a little bit, but in the sense of what giving and receiving is actually because everything is the same. That you are the same. You are the same thing in which gave you the world. So even as you're receiving it, you're also giving it. I hope I made it clear. So giving and receiving applies to everything and in all sorts of different ways. And of course, there's so many other ways to help it. I'm just trying to take you to kind of the farthest depths possible. But in the sense of recognizing that you're not only even creating the world, you literally are the world. You are one with the world. And it is all one and the same. So illusion isn't something to be guilty about. It's not something to be ashamed about. It's not something you're stuck in. It's something that you, quite literally, have decided. You are a decision. And illusion and disorientation and lost and confused is an aspect of this decision. You made the decision to be here. You made the decision to experience. And only by that authority that recognizes that truth does all of it dissolve away. If it so desires by that same authority.